Moving forward, here's a lesson for functions. In this lesson, we would be learning what are functions, why do we use functions, function declaration, how to call a function, and what are function parameters, and lastly, benefits of using user-defined functions. So what are functions? A function is a block of code that performs a specific task. Suppose we need to create a program to create a circle and color it. So we can create two functions to solve this problem. The first function would be to draw the circle, and the second function would be to color the function. Dividing a complex problem into smaller chunks makes our program easy and understandable and help us to implement the property of reusability in our program. There are mainly two types of functions. Built-in functions, also called as standard library functions, and second, user-defined functions. The built-in functions are predefined in C. The definition of these functions is given in the header files. We just need to include those header files using hash directives. Whereas user-defined functions are defined by the users. The definition of these functions is defined by the user in the program itself. Some common built-in functions are printf function, scanf function, square root function, which are defined in stdio.h and math.h header file. The idea of the function is to put commonly or repeatedly done tasks together and make a function, so that instead of writing the same code again and again for different inputs, we can call the function itself. Now, why do we need functions? Firstly, function helps in reducing code redundancy. If functionality is performed at multiple places in our program, then rather than writing the same code again and again, we create a function and just call it wherever required. This also helps in maintenance of our program. Function makes the code more modular. Consider a big file having many lines of codes. It becomes really simple to read and use the code if the program is divided into functions. Also, functions provide abstraction. For example, we can use library functions without worrying about their internal working. Now comes how to declare a function. The function declaration basically tells the compiler the details of the functions, such as the number of parameters it would take, the data types of the parameters, return type of the function, and what exact task is the function gonna execute. Now let us look at the syntax. The declaration of the function starts with return type, that is, what type of data would it be returning. That data type is specified first. Then comes the function name. Naming of the function is same as naming a variable. And within these round braces comes the list of parameters, separated by a single comma. Then comes the body of the function where the exact instructions the function is going to perform are written. Let's see an example. Void greet, round braces, and then the body of the function. Now void represents the return type. It means that this function is going to return nothing. Then comes the function name, that is greet. And this function is not taking any parameter, so we leave the round brackets as empty. Then comes the body of function. Now this function is going to print good morning. Now let us see the function declaration in more detail. As we know, the function declaration starts with the return type. A function may return a value. The return type is the data type of the value the function returns. Some function perform the desired operations without returning a value. In this case, the function type is keyword void. Then comes the function name. This is the actual name of the function. The function name and the parameter list together constitute the function signature. Then comes the list of parameters. A parameter is like a placeholder. When a function is invoked or when a function is called, we pass a value to the parameter. The value is referred to as actual parameter or argument. The parameter list refers to type, order, and the number of parameters of a function. Parameters are optional. That is, a function may contain no parameters. Then comes the function body. The function body contains a collection of statements that define what the function is going to do. Now, how to call a function. While creating a C function, we give a definition of what the function has to do. To use a function, we have to call or invoke that function. When a program calls a function, program control is transferred to the called function. Then a called function performs defined task, and when its return statement is executed, closing bracket is reached, it returns program control back to the main program. To call a function, we simply need to pass the required parameters along with the function name. So let us look at the syntax. As discussed earlier, the function greet could be called as follows. In the int main, just write the function name and the parameter list in the round braces. There, the function was not taking any parameter, so we leave this round bracket here as empty. But if a function in case is taking any parameters, then the actual parameters are to be specified within this round braces. Now comes what are function parameters. If a function is to use parameters, it must declare variables that accept the values of these arguments. These variables are called as the formal parameters of the function. A parameter is that value which is passed while calling a function. We pass a value to a function parameter while calling a function. The type of parameters passed while calling a function must always match with the corresponding parameters defined in the function declaration. If we are passing a parameter of integer type, then the function definition must also contain a parameter which will catch the data of integer type, else it will throw an error. Now the parameters passed to a function are called as actual parameters, and the parameters received by the function, that is the parameter list, which we write while function definition, are known as formal parameters. The parameters can be passed by two methods, pass by value and pass by reference. In pass by value parameter passing method, values of the actual parameters are copied to the function's formal parameter, and the two types of parameters are stored in different memory location. So any changes made inside the function are not reflected in the actual parameters of the caller. In pass by reference parameter passing method, both actual and formal parameters refer to same location. That is, the address of the variable is passed. So any changes made inside the function are actually reflected in the actual parameters of the caller. We would be learning more about pass by value and pass by reference in the coming assignment. Then comes the return statement. Whenever the return statement is encountered, it terminates the execution of the function and returns the control to the calling function. Execution resumes in the calling function at the point immediately followed by the call of the function. The syntax for the return expression is the return keyword followed with an expression, that is the value it would be returning. The value of the expression is returned to the call function and is stored in the corresponding type of data. Any code after return statement is not executed because return actually tells the termination of the function. A function may have any number of return statements, but only one gets executed among all, because as soon as the first return statement will be executed, the control passes back to the calling function, so the rest of the return statements do not get executed at all. Now what are benefits of using user-defined function? First is function makes the code reusable. We can declare them once and use them multiple times. Function makes the program easier as small task is divided into a function. Function increases readability. It reduces the complexity of the program. Let's have a quick recap. A function is a block of code that performs a specific task. The syntax for the function starts with the data type that it would be returning, followed with a function name and the list of parameters specified within the round braces and separated by a single comma. And then comes the body of function, which is enclosed within opening and closing curly braces. The parameters passed to function are called as actual parameters, while the parameters received by the function are known as formal parameters. Next, we would be doing an assignment on functions.